This is a brutal book. Hello everyone, welcome to Harry's Book Cafe. Today let's talk about this book, Hold the Dark by William Giraldi. William Giraldi is an American author. He has published quite a few books. However, the most well-known is Hold the Dark. He is also a lecturer of the Art and Science writing program in Boston University. Hold the Dark has been made into a film by Netflix a few years back, and when I trying to do some research about the book online on YouTube, all I can see is the review of the actual movie itself, and there's lots of videos about explaining the endings of the film. So I haven't seen the film, so I guess the ending must be quite obscure, and therefore it warrants lots of videos to explain what the ending means. The book, on the other hand, does not have an ambiguous ending. At least after I read it, I find no ambiguity there. It was pretty clear what the ending means, so I guess the movie must have changed the ending somewhat. But anyway, the story of the book is based in a very remote village in Alaska, and basically the village contains a few huts and nothing more. There are very few roads actually leading to the village. The novel started with the missing children kidnapped and eaten by the wolves. One of the mothers, Medora, her child was the last one when missing. So grief-stricken, she trying to hunt down those wolves responsible, but she was not a very skillful huntswoman, and therefore she failed in her mission, so to speak. And because of this, she has written a letter to a wolf expert who has been publishing quite a lot of books on the subject. So she has written this letter asking him to come and find this wolf responsible for the murder of her child. So this wolf expert is Cole, C-O-R-E. Surprising himself and the female protagonist, he actually answered the letter. Now Cole is a very interesting character because he was basically had enough of life. His wife is not well. His daughter is estranged from him. And in his younger days, he reluctantly killed a big wolf. And all this combination made him quite a depressing figure. He basically had enough of life. He doesn't really have much to go on for. But yet, surprising himself, and the female protagonist decided to answer this letter, met this woman, and she told him a little bit more about what happened, the murder of her kid, and told him that her husband is in Afghanistan fighting a war. She knows her child, Billy, is now dead. That is beyond doubt. However, she wants to bury him even if only bones are left, and he also wants to show her husband that the remains of his only son. So the very next day, equipped with proper dress, proper clothes, and rifle, and enough food, the wolf expert set off in the hope of finding the wolf responsible. However, it didn't really go according to plan. Although he found the wolf responsible, he did not kill them. He actually came back to the woman Medora. However, when he comes back, things start getting really, really weird. Medora was nowhere to be found in her hut, and one thing leads to another. It basically led the the wolf expert, down to the basement, where he finds the dead body of Bailey, the son. Bailey was not actually eaten by wolf. He finds strangle marks on his neck, and inferred that Medora, the mother, actually murdered her only son, and the whole eaten by wolf thing was sort of like a cover. But you couldn't quite understand, as a reader, I couldn't understand why she started all this elaborate lie to get Cole involved in the picture. One thing leads to another. So the story then move on to the next part, which is most centered on the male protagonist, the husband of Medora, Voron. Now, Voron was a veteran soldier fighting in Afghanistan, and there's quite a detailed descriptions of some of the skirmishes that he was involved in, which was quite interesting, very well written as well. Really enjoy that part about the bullet flying and limbs getting torn off. Really graphical, so I quite enjoy that part. Anyway, so he got injured quite badly. As a result of that, he went to Germany to get recuperated. Once he has done that, he was discharged with honor back to Alaska, where he found out that his son was actually murdered by his wife. Now, this is where the story starts to pick up this pace a little bit. Varun, the husband, wants to find his wife and exert revenge. On the other hand is the policeman Donald, and he was referred to Don throughout the novel. Don and his police department were desperate to find Midora before her crazy husband does so. So it became a race between the husband and the police department trying to find this woman. The story progresses. The husband went to the morgue, stolen his son's body by killing the mortician. He then shot dead 2 policemen and grabbed the file of his wife off their hands because he wants to hinder their progress. He wants to reach his wife wherever she's hiding first, and therefore he decided to kill them. He basically gone crazy, and his trials are littered with dead bodies. There are so many people that he killed for not apparently good reasons, which is really part of the big problem of this novel, which I will explain a little bit later. So the story then progresses. Donald, the policeman, and Cole, the wolf expert, sort of join hands in the latter part of the novel, and they managed to find a woman pretty much at the same time as the Varun, the husband. And spoiler here, the policeman was killed quite brutally, and so should Cole, but he actually managed to survive through the ordeal. The husband then finds the woman, his wife, Miranda, and he tried to strangle her the way that she has strangled their son. He failed because Varun, the woman, actually headbutted him. From that moment on, all the fight left him, and they start kissing and make up. I mean, it's just really weird, really weird for no apparent reason. People don't behave particularly rational in this novel. The story moves on very basically. So the husband and the wife escape justice. They have their secret hideout somewhere even more remote than the village itself, and stay put pretty much for the rest of the novel. The novel has some really amazing elements to it. The violent parts of the novel are depicted super well. It's very short and sweet and full of blood, and you can feel that impact. The short proses of the writing definitely has an echo of Courtney McCarthy vibe to it, which is really good. The words that are being used are really quite lyrical, almost like a poem sometimes. Perhaps the biggest strength of the novel is the environment being depicted. That brutal Alaskan winter, when he described the storm, the whiteout, the blizzard, as if I'm in the actual place myself. I can feel the cold, I can feel the goosebump on my arms. Having said all this, the novel really has some big flaws. And the biggest one of them all is the characters. None of the characters I felt any emotional connections. None of them I felt behaved in a particular rational way. Having finished the novel, I still don't quite understand why the woman started this all elaborate lie to get the wolf expert in, only for him to then find the body. I don't understand her motivation at all. I don't understand the wolf expert's motivation of not killing the wolf because he has killed a wolf before. Then why do you have to come? Why do you come in the first place? So I don't understand. But the biggest problem is the male protagonist, the husband, Varun. There are so many dead bodies on his trail. He's like a knife cutting through the narrative, and whoever he touches ends up dead for no apparent reason. He kills this old woman in the village. He killed 2 policemen. He killed one of the husband of an innkeeper. I can't work out the reason for that. The only rational murder is the murder of the mortician, because he wants to steal his son's body. But there are so many other bodies scattered around his path, which I can't really explain the motivation because there isn't any. So it's really weird. I mean, as I said, I enjoy the violent part, but it really makes... It's like a bad kung fu movie, if you know what I mean. There's no story behind it, but there's just lots and lots of fighting. That will never ever happen in real life. And that's how I felt about this particular novel. The story, I think, is very weak from the beginning all the way to the end. There is not a sensible narrative from the beginning to the end. There's no a center of gravity holding the story together. It simply isn't there. The story plot is very weak. And Donald, or Don, the chief policeman, he's also behaving very irrationally and very stupidly. One of the scenes where he needed to apprehend a friend of Veron's, take him back to the office and question him, and in the hope of finding out where Veron is going, where he might be at the time. Not only did this friend refuse the police request, he also told the police point blank that he will not go willingly, and he's quite happy to start a shootout. Now, instead of arresting him or shoot him down at that point when he could, he actually let him go and started a shootout, as a result of which several of his police officers died. Why would you do that? There's no policeman in the world will do something as stupid as Dong has done. I don't understand the author's motivation, and I don't understand the editor's incompetence. I mean, this is the most ridiculous scene in the whole book. That really reinforces my critique of this novel, and that is none of the characters are behaving in any way realistic. Even though it's a very, very short book, less than 200 pages, I felt as if I was reading a much bigger book than the actual page numbers warrant. I would not recommend this book. I think I'll give it 1 star. I think that is why they have changed the ending somewhat on the movie to make it more interesting. And talking about the ending, guess what? Again, spoiler alert, Veron and Miranda are bloody twins. They are twins. I understand things like this happens in real life, but why? There is no any reason whatsoever for the author to choose the two protagonists to be twins and have incestuous relationship. I can understand if the plot demands such a development, but there is absolutely no reason whatsoever throughout the book to warrant such relationship. Guys, I would not recommend this book. That's it, guys, for this particular review. Thank you for watching. I hope you really enjoyed it. Like I said last time, I do have a travel channel. It's Global Hopper. If you haven't already, please check it out. Cheerio, until next time.